They have high hopes and a whole lot of motivation. The danger is real and the excitement is virtual. And any night of the week, they're their league's heroes. And they live for the thrill of victory. It's Sunday Night Thunder, and NARC No Limit is open for business. Welcome, everybody, to NARC's No Limit, the SimRat Market No Limit Invitational's final event of the season here at the Big E. That's it, Eldora Speedway in Rossburg, Ohio. The house that Earl built, the place where legends are made, and we're going to crown legends tonight as we finish off this invitational-only sprint car event. This season's 6 races have led us straight to what is going to open up next year to anyone to compete in, and that is NARC's No Limit Open events. Eldora Speedway, just a little bit under a half a mile. We call it a whole half mile here. It's an absolutely gorgeous day here in Ohio. 85 degrees, a little bit of cloud in the sky, and just a light wind. Cars are out on the track taking hot laps right now, but here in just a moment we'll be up for single car qualifying. Everybody gets their own opportunity out on the track. Then we'll move into our heat race events. 4 cars from each heat race will transfer. The dash will be the winner and the fastest qualifier to transfer out of the heat race. And all the points here in NARC No Limit are done by division. Let's keep an eye out here as we get ready for qualifying. Some of the practice that's going on. We'll be right back with you right before the cars hit the track for qualifying.
Any particular question you want to? What got you interested? Let's go to that. You kind of have to go way back. find the roots of this interest, but they was do a game, the simulation game. This partner and I had a contact there, and it turned out that they had a producer who was looking to do an 8500.
So this, what year was that?
Oh, this was like 1986 or 7.
I was born.
1987.
I was born too.
So, any particular question you want to?
What got you interested? Let's go to that.
You kind of have to go way back to find the roots of this interest, but they was do a game, the simulation game. This partner and I had a contact there, and it turned out that they had a producer who was looking to do an 8500 game.
So this, what year was that?
Oh, this was like 1986 or 7.
I was born.
1987.
I was born too.
Yeah, we got.
First car out on the speedway for Simrad Market qualifying tonight. Driving the number 14 from Moline, New York, and Scott Thomason Racing. This is Josh Whiteman. Josh Whiteman out for lap 1. Right into the middle of the speedway there. He's going to again kind of run that middle line through 3 and 4. Comes around for lap 1. Lap 1's going to give him a 13.48, 13.48 for lap number 1. Track record here at Eldora, 13.047. Lap number 2 for Josh, going to be a 13.46, just a little bit faster. Second car out on the speedway, driving the number 73 Scott Thomason Racing Machine from St. Louis, Missouri. This is Larry Moody. Larry Moody takes the green flag out on the backstretch now. Again, similar line as we saw before. He's going a little lower in 3 and 4. And comes around for lap 1, lap number 1. Going to be a 13.85, considerably slower than Whiteman on lap number 1. Moody going to go up a lane here in lap number 2. Turn number 4, lap number 2 for Larry Moody. At 13.68. A little bit faster there for lap number 2, but not enough. Next car out on track from Jacksonville, Illinois for Team SSR Elite. Driving the number 18, this is Brandon Garman. Brandon all the way down to the bottom of the speedway, almost getting that inside wall on the entry to 1. It's definitely a line that we've seen have speed here, depending on how the track develops. Late on the exit. Lap number 1 for Brandon, going to be a 13.62. Good enough to slot him into second spot here. Brandon's going to run again that middle line here in lap number 2. See if he can pull off. Checking flag for Garmin. Not going to be faster. 13.62 will hold. Next car out on the track from Atwood, Indiana, again for SSR Elite. In the 13M, this is Bryce Barris. Bryce Barris in the 13M. Bryce comes around to take the green flag. Like we are nowhere near the track record tonight. I think that's going to be safe. Bryce kind of running that middle line here. Lap number 1 for Bryce. Quick time, 13.42 for Bryce. Let's see if he's got anything better. He kind of runs the bottom, slides all the way up to the top. Bryce Barris, lap number 2, going to be a 13.43, almost the same lap. With a much different line. Next car out on the track is going to be the number 29 for 25 Enterprises. This is Taylor Wineland from Manicoca, Louisiana. He's going to be subbing for Steven Stewart tonight. Taylor takes the green flag in the number 29 machine. Kind of runs that middle line, carries a lot of momentum and very straight. Taylor's first lap comes in 13:50, good enough for third quick. It's going to move all the way down to the bottom in 1 and 2 here. All the way down to the bottom in 3 and 4. A little wiggly on the exit. Taylor's second lap going to be 13:51. Not good enough to improve there. Next car out on the track, driving the number 28 from Iowa City, Iowa for Black Dog Motorsports. This is Reese Reimers. Reese Reimers in the number 28. Takes the green flag. He's going to, again, run that kind of middle line. Nobody going up there and really trying the wall out so far. That's very unusual at this point. Reese driving through the middle of the track. Lap 1's going to come in at 13:92. Good enough for 6th quick so far here. Just comes around for lap number 2, driving a very similar line, so he gains any momentum here. Reaches lap number 2 at 13:85, good enough to improve his time, but not his position. Next car out on the track from Arcade, New York, in the number 5 SSR Elite machine. This is Zach Miller. Zach Miller in the number 5. Take his green flag here. Zach driving a lane higher than everybody else. Doesn't surprise me. Zach typically a guy that's going to run the top. It's a little bit more middle in 3 and 4. Lap number 1 for Zach going to come in at a 13:49. That's good enough for 3rd place. Zach's lap number 2 as he comes out of turn number 4. 13:99, not good enough to improve there in lap number 2. Your next driver out on the speedway, driving the number 10 Black Diamond Motorsports machine from Warrensburg, Missouri. This is Ryan Scheidt. Ryan Scheidt taking the green flag for lap number 1 here. Lap number 1 for Ryan, a 13:47. Ryan staying up higher in turns 1 and 2, goes down to the bottom in 3 and 4, slides all the way up to the top. Lap number 2 for Ryan, going to come in at a 13:35 quick time for Ryan Scheidt. Ryan Scheidt to the top, just like our last event at Lernerville. Next car out's going to be here. Jesse Bandy, sorry, the camera problem. We missed his first lap. First lap for Jesse going to be a 13:40. Jesse out on the track from Rochester, Minnesota for Scott Thomason Racing. He's driving Chad Griggs' machine here. Lap number 2 for Jesse. Not going to be an improvement. 13:40 for Jesse Bandy. Good enough for 2nd spot. Next up on the speedway, driving the number 6 Watts Motorsports machine from Bella Vista, Arkansas. This is Mike Watson. Watson running a lane up again. He's running that same spot where the leaders have been running. He's going to try the high side in 3 and 4. Maybe touches the wall, I'm not 100% sure. Across the flag for lap number 1, and 13:63, good enough for 8th position. Let's see what he can come up with. And around for lap number 2. Watson not going to improve lap number 2, 13:75. Next driver on track, driving a throwback scheme in the FIT number 20 for School of Sim Racing in Fayetteville, Pennsylvania. This is Jeremy Weigel. Jeremy, a house car driver earlier this season, invited back to the season. Taking the green flag here, lap number 1 for Jeremy. He's going to kind of run that middle line. Lap number 1 at 13:59, good enough for 7th spot. For lap number 2, of course, seems a little boggy, maybe just not quite in the gear. For second lap for Jeremy, not going to be an improvement at 13:65. Not going to be an improvement. Next car out on the track, driving the 518 for Inferno Motorsports from Waynesburg, New York. This is Joseph Grandy. Joseph running the high line in 3 and 4 to take the green flag. He's going to again stay up on the top of the track, carrying a lot of momentum up there. He's going to run this slider line in 3 and 4. It seems to have a lot of speed. Lap number 1 for Grandy, 13:36, second quick by just 100th of a second. Scheidt's going to have it. Let's see if he's got anything more for lap number 2. Doesn't look quite as clean in turns 3 and 4. Grandy's checkered flag on lap 13:50 on that second lap. Not going to be enough. And next out from Reading, Pennsylvania, this is the number 90 Black Diamond Motorsports machine, driven by Trevor Royer, your points leader at the moment. Trevor going to use lap 1, build some momentum here as he comes around 1 and 2. Right on the cushion, he's going to stay there in 3 and 4. Again, building momentum. Let's see if he does something different in lap number 2. Lap number 1 for Trevor. Quick time, 13:33 for Trevor Royer. Got into the wall. He's going to give it up. He's going to say, that's all I got, boys. I only need 1 lap. That's what we're going to take. Next car out on the speedway, the number 97 Obermeyer Racing Machine from Bradford, Pennsylvania. This is Richard Obermeyer. Eldora qualifying. Not for the faint of heart, as we saw there with Trevor Royer, right on the edge to get the speed you need, especially as the track starts to wear down. We've seen the track change a lot. Ryan run a much different line than Trevor did. Richard's first lap, 13:86, good enough for 14th quick at the moment. Richard's second lap, again, kind of running the bottom of the speedway. Not going to improve for Richard. 13:87 will be his time of record in 14th. Next car out in the 187 from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, in the Inferno Motorsports machine. This is Rick Main. Going to the top side of the speedway. He sees what Trevor's done. See if he can do something else. Not quite as high as Trevor was there. First lap for Rick. Going to be a 13:48. Good enough for 7th quick. Second lap for Maine. He's going to try to run that slider line. But good carry on the second lap. See if he's got anything better. 13:41. That's going to move him up to 5th place. The next car out there from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, driving the number 32 Brent Marks Sim Team machine. This is Christopher Lynn. Ooh, Christopher trying to run the way top of the racetrack. Gets a little bit wild there on the entry 1. That is some scary stuff. These guys going a very, very light 140 miles an hour on the entry to turn 1. First lap for Lynn at 13:54. Second lap for Lynn, just a little more conservative. So he's got enough to pick it up, though. Second lap for Lynn, no faster. Be a 13:60 for that second lap. Next car on the speedway, driving the number 30 0FX Motorsports from Clovis, California. This is Colby Araki. Colby Araki in the number 30. Colby looking super smooth in 1 and 2. Stays to the high side in 3 and 4. This is where the speed is right now. Colby's first lap. 13:55, good enough for 11th spot. Colby's second lap, he's going to run a much different line, kind of slider. Colby's second lap, going to be a 13:38, good enough for 4th place. Good save by Colby there. That was going to be a rough qualifying attempt. Next car out there driving the number 53 School of Sim Racing House car this week. This is Joe Howe from Cape May County, New Jersey. Joe is a SSR veteran and has always been around NARC and always been around SSR. Lap number 1 for Joe in the house car. 13:45, good enough for 8th quick. So he's got for lap number 2 here. Lap number 2 is 13:43. 13:42. Good enough for 7th quick still. No improvement. Next car out in the 95, Hagen Brothers Racing Machine from Northwood, Iowa. This is Brent Hagen in the 95. Brent Hagen taking time here at Eldora Speedway. We're on the top of the track, a little loose on the exit there. This is where it's fast, but it is tough up there. Hagen and Arc win. Hagen's first lap, 13:65, good enough for 6th quick. Not a lot of room for error right now. As we saw with Iraqi, just a slight mistake was enough to really set you back. Hagen's second lap, 13:57. That is going to be quicker. Good enough for 13th spot. And the next car out here in the number 6, Scott Thomason Racing Machine. From Tulsa, Oklahoma, Scott Thomason. Scott Thomason out to the high side of the track. Again, this is a track where momentum can really play a role. He's going to run that slider line in 3 and 4. Let's see if it's got anything for him. In the middle of the speedway on exit. Almost cutting the corner a little bit. First lap for Thomason at 13:46. Good enough for 9th position. Thomason's second lap, unfortunately, very similar. And no quicker for lap number 2, 13:54. Next car out, a little bit of a new face here for No Limit. Somebody that we invited here to run this last race from Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. Black Diamond Motorsports number 23. This is Alex Wazinski, Alex and NARC winner. Black Diamond always been a friend of SSR. Alec running the way high side of the speedway here. Lap number 1 for Alec. Going to be a 13:42, good enough for 7th. Alec changing it up here for lap number 2. Let's see if it's got anything more. And a 13:40, good enough for 5th place. That's going to bump Bandy and Maine now out of the top 5. Next car to take time here, driving the number 91, another Black Diamond Motorsports entry from Lima, Ohio. This is Ernie Williams Jr. Ernie right up against the wall, riding high, not afraid to die. He is right there where he needs to be. Lap 1 for Ernie. Good enough for 10th quick at 13:43. Lap number 2 for Ernie here. Not any quicker, 13:49. And one final qualifier, driving the number 10. Maximum entry For Brent Marks' sim team from Thomasville, Pennsylvania, this is Jack Young. Jack running a totally different line than we've seen from these late qualifiers here. He's going to run that slider in 1 and 2 and the slider in 3 and 4. One for Jack. Going to be 1361, good enough for 18th position. Lap number 2, not going to be an improvement. It's going to keep that 1361. That makes Trevor Royer and Ryan Scheit your top 2 qualifiers tonight. Trevor's 1333, Ryan's 1335, and Joseph Grandy's 1336. All within just a couple of hundredths of each other. Tight field tonight here at Eldora.
Up next, we have a really exciting guest. We have Chris Miller from our Vehicle Dynamics. All right, Chris, so why don't you tell us what exactly...
School of Sim Racing, heat race number 1, taking the grid. We're going to have on the pole Zach Miller, and in second, Ernie Williams Jr. In third, Rick Main, and in fourth, Colby Araki. In fifth, Trevor Royer, your pole sitter. And in sixth, Brent Hagan. In seventh, Brandon Garman. And in eighth, Reese Reimers. 10 laps, the distance. Ten laps to the distance here. 4 cars going to transfer to the feature. And your winner and the fastest qualifier that transfers will make it to the dash. Zach Miller leads him to the green here with Ernie Williams. Pace cars in. And the green flag's out. Zach gets a really good jump. Goes right to the top of the speedway along with Araki. Araki into the wall. Royer's going to get caught up and slowed down just a little bit. Ernie Williams going to hop into second place around mains. Royer throws the big bomb on Colby Araki. He is all the way up into fourth now with a transfer position. But don't give it up yet as Araki goes down to the bottom, gets a little loose. He loses the grip. He's now back in fifth, and there's a big gap. Royer now on the attack. With Rick May, run to the bottom, deep slider, all the way up to the wall. Maine cuts down underneath him. Maine's got the advantage entering turn number 4. Royer tries the cut down. But Maine with that short slider isn't going to lose nearly as much momentum. Royer's going to try this slider one more time. Much cleaner that time. Maine goes down to the bottom. Maine's got the advantage. Give Maine third place. Miller pulling away from the field a little bit. There's Williams up front. Maine's going to stay ahead of Royer. Royer, all he has to do is transfer here. He's going to make the dash. He does not need to pass anybody. But Ernie Williams now starting to make moves. Get up a little closer to Zach Miller. Royer back to the tail tank of Maine's. Royer gets the run off the exit of turn number 2. He's going to continue to build momentum in turns 3 and 4. He pulls off of turn number 4, and now Maine's is starting to pull ahead again. Up front again, Ernie Williams trying to close in on Zach Miller. Everybody pretty much running the same times, 13:60s across the top 6 in the field now. Royer's going to get around Maine with a big slider. Maine's going to cut underneath. Maine's going to throw the slider in 1 and 2. Not as clean as he wanted to be. Royer's got a huge run on the exit. Give it to Royer entering turn number 3. Now Royer's going to slide up. Maine got no room to cut down underneath him. Now Royer cleanly in position number 3. But look at this, Ernie Williams with the white flag out. He's coming right up. But it's going to be Zach Miller, Ernie Williams, Trevor Royer, Rick Maine, Kobe Araki, Brandon Garment, Reese Reimers, and Brent Hagan. Your rundown for heat race number 1. It's going to be Zach Miller and Trevor Royer out of that going to your dash. Heat race number 2 is going to start out with Taylor Weiland and Scott Thomason on the front row. Joe Howell and Alex Dzerzhinsky in row number 2. Ryan Shea, your second place qualifier, in row number 3 with Jeremy Weigel. And Mike Watson and Richard Obermeyer rounding out row number 4. Again, top 4 transfer, winner, and the fastest qualifier to transfer, just like with Trevor Royer in the last race, are going to make it to your dash. The dash is what's going to line up the first 3 rows of your feature tonight. Cars roll off. Weiland Tomlinson, Howe, Alex Dzerzhinsky, Scheiden Weigel, Watson and Obermeyer. Weiland covering for Steven Stewart today. Going to lead him to the green. Pace cars in. Green flags out. Get off to a relatively clean start. A little bit of a bobble in the middle of the field. Dzerzhinsky running the top of the track. Gets into the wall a little bit. He's going to stay up there. He's going to build some momentum. He's going to get right up on the tail tank of Watson. Dzerzhinsky cuts down to the bottom. Dzerzhinsky tries to run that bottom middle line. Watson has the advantage on the exit of 2. Taylor Weiland pulling out to a little bit of a lead. Dzerzhinsky now under attack from Joe Howell. Howell running the bottom of the speedway. Dzerzhinsky back to the top, starts to pull away a little. Jeremy Weigel on the top of the speedway. He may be something for Howell, a little bit of wall contact. Watson to the bottom, runs that slider all the way up. Watson a little bit into the wall. That's going to allow Dzerzhinsky to get back to his tail tank. Watson again the slider in 1 and 2. Not generally the part of the track where you want to run a slider. Weiland with that incredible cut down in 1 and 2. He's going to gain a ton of momentum. He's going to run that cut down again in 3 and 4. He's got a clean run now on Watson. Howe's going to get around Watson. Top 4, Wineland, Szerzynski, Howe, now Thomason. Wineland, Szerzynski, Scheidt, Weigel now. Contact there. Got the field pretty widely spread out. Jeremy Weigel going to return to the sprint car. He's one on top of this one. A lot going on. Wineland starting to lose a little ground to Szerzynski. Szerzynski really working the racetrack, trying different lines. Going to be 2 laps to go as we cross the finish line here. 2 laps, Wineland cuts it down one line, then cuts down the speedway. And Szerzynski get to him. Szerzynski all the way to the cushion in 3 and 4. He's going to run that ring all the way around. Definitely faster on the exit of 3. He's got to figure out what to do in turns 1 and 2, maybe gain some of the back. Both cars ran nearly identical lap times. Come around 2, we'll check her 4. It's going to be Taylor Wineland, Szerzynski, Jeremy White. I believe that's going to be Wineland and Scheidt making the dash. And here we go, the lineup for heat race number 3. On the front row, Christopher Lynn and Josh Whiteman. On the second row, Bryce Barris and Jesse Bandy. Row number 3 going to be Joseph Grandy and Jack Young. And rounding out row number 4, Larry Moody. 10 laps the distance. Top 4 wheel transfer. What can these guys do here? Lynn and Whiteman leading to the green, followed by Bryce, Barris, and Jesse Bandy. Chad Griggs and Jack Young and Larry Moody. Green flags out. It's a really good jump. Goes right to the middle of the speedway. Moving through turn 1 pretty cleanly. Joe Young. Jack. Oh, a little bit of contact between, looked like Joseph Grandy and maybe Harris. No, it wasn't Harris. I'm not sure who he got into there. Maybe it was Jesse Bandy. I think it was Jesse Bandy. Running the Chad Griggs car, and that's going to work out really well for Jack Young, who moves up into 4th position into that transfer. He's tracking down Bryce Barris. Battle for the lead. Lynn running that middle of the speedway. Whiteman running the top. Whiteman with the momentum. He's going to lead lap number 3. Whiteman now completely clear. Lynn kind of in a lane of his own. He needs to get back to the top. He needs to get out of that slip. Whiteman going to run that cut down. He's going to be faster. He's going to start to pull away. Barris under attack from Jack Young. That's going to be a slider for position. Barris cuts underneath him. Young loses the momentum. Barris got it in 3 and 4 here. He's going to slide all the way up to the wall. And he's going to have a clear run at that position. But don't count out Joseph Grandy. He's back in the race here. Grandy back up to the tail tank. He may have a transfer position before it's all said and done. Jack Young in the wall a little bit, but he's got a lot of momentum coming off the He is going to clear Bryce. Slider after slider after slider here. And that's going to allow Grandy to get into the picture. Grandy now going to make the move. And woo! Just barely misses Young on that hole. Now Bryce going to run the bottom of the track. Grandy's going to get around him. Now it's going to be Whiteman, Lynn, Young, Grandy in your transfers. Bryce Barris now having to come around 2 laps to get Grandy making it all the way back to a transfer after a little contact early in the heat race. Young's getting away with it. Christopher Lynn losing ground to Josh Whiteman. Barris up on the wheel. White flag is out. 1 more lap to go. Josh Whiteman's got this clearly in hand. Just no mistakes, and he will bring this one home. Coming around to take the checkered flag. Number 14, Josh Whiteman. Then Christopher Lynn, Jack Young, and Grandy just barely sneaks out that transfer spot on the final lap. Josh Whiteman and Joe Grandy going to be your dash cars here. Let's take a moment to learn a little bit more about the winged sprint car in today's School of Sim Racing Tech Tip from Christian McCartney.
Welcome to Tech Tips presented by the School of Sim Racing. For those unfamiliar with dirt racing, in this segment, we answer the question, what is a sprint car? The basic recipe for sprint cars is simple. Make it light and make it powerful. Following this recipe, sprint cars are built around a minimal tubular frame with a short 84-inch wheelbase. The tubular frame is made of lightweight alloys to reduce as much weight as possible while maintaining strength. The frame serves as the backbone for the chassis components, motor, and acts as the roll cage to protect the driver in an accident. The compact design of the car means that the driver must sit directly behind the engine compartment and atop the rear axle, with his legs straddling the drive shaft. Drivers are kept safe by full containment seats with padding and harnesses to keep them secure and in place during an accident. Sprint cars take weight reduction to the extreme. There's no starter motor or transmission, and the car carries a small battery pack that is only large enough to power the ignition system for one night of racing. Because of this design, a push truck is needed to help crank the engine over and start the motor. The driver starts the car and puts it in gear using a simple in and out box. All of these weight-saving features means that a typical sprint car weighs on average 1,400 pounds or 640 kilograms, including the weight of the driver. With such little weight pushing down on the tires, sprint car suspensions are critical to transmitting the power of the engine to the tires and maintain maneuverability of the car. Sprint cars' suspension technology includes straight axles and a combination of radius rods, coilover springs, shock absorbers, and torsion bars. Because of the need for simplicity and durability, suspension technology has not evolved much over the years. In a typical setup, the front suspension supports 35 to 40% of the car's weight, while the rear supports 60 to 65% of the car's weight. The rear end is supported inside bird cages and is paired with a quick change rear differential to allow teams to match gears with different track configurations and conditions. Sprint car tires are the point of contact between the car and the track, with all of the forces generated by the car's movements transmitted through them. At the front, sprint cars have a pair of skinny 8-inch wide tires. The contact patch of these tires is large enough to allow the driver to direct the car through the corner, but small enough to allow for some slip so that the car more easily slides through the corner. In the rear, sprint cars have evolved an asymmetric shape, with a smaller 22.5-inch wide tire on the left rear and a massive 105-inch wide wheel on the right rear. The asymmetrical design means that, unlike most cars, whose pivot point is in the center of the vehicle, sprint cars pivot about the rear axle, meaning the driver can control the rotation of the car through the use of the throttle. As rear-wheeled drive cars, the added width of the extra wide tires provides the forward traction or bite needed to drive the car out of the corner. It's all about converting the power of the motor into speed. Sprint cars are powered by naturally aspirated overhead valve V8 engines. Motor displacement can vary based on car class, with the top classes running the maximum of 410 cubic inches or 6.7 liters. Unlike your typical gas-powered V8, which produces 500 to 600 horsepower, sprint car motors are methanol injected, meaning they can make over 900 horsepower and rev up to 9,000 RPM. Punch for punch, sprint cars are only rivaled by contemporary F1 cars for their power-to-weight ratio. The greatest innovations in sprint car design have been in the car's aerodynamics. Sprint cars feature a small nose wing and a large top wing with huge asymmetrical panels. The front wing provides downforce to the nose of the car, while the massive top wing provides downforce to the rear of the car. The wings work together to allow sprint cars to travel at high speeds and with greater stability on short quarter and half-mile clay ovals. The asymmetric side panels provide the necessary downforce in the corners when the car slides and provide side force to maximize the slip angle of the car. Sprint car racing is a unique and beloved form of local grassroots motorsport throughout the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. Give it a go yourself online on iRacing and you'll be hooked for life. This has been Tech Tips presented by the School of Sim Racing.
School of Sim Racing Tech Tips there, presented by Christian McCartney. Christian, our normal pit reporter, been off the last couple of weeks with some other stuff. We really appreciate the work he's been doing behind the scenes for ESRN and the School of Sim Racing. We are getting ready to line up our B main event here. It's going to be Colby Araki and Richard Obermeyer on the front row. It's going to be Bryce Barris and Brandon Garmin in row 2. Reese Reimers and Joe Howe in row 3. Mike Watson and Brent Hagan in row 4. And Larry Moody and Jesse Bandy in row 5. Looks like Jesse Bandy having a little bit of trouble getting out of the pits. Doesn't look like he made the call for the event. Everybody's going to transfer here, so it shouldn't be a problem. An officiating note here tonight, Scott Thomason was ejected from the grounds this afternoon due to an altercation in the pits. That's all I know from it. I didn't see any of it. I didn't hear any of it, but I'm sure that officials will review that and have a conversation with him about future involvement. Here we are, getting past that. Colby Araki going to lead him to the green here. Right up to the top of the speedway. Paris going right up to the top of the speedway with him. Both of those guys going to clear the field. Joe Howe in the house car making some moves, getting all the way up there behind Barris. Now he's going to pass over Meyer and get into third place. He's going to try to run Bryce Barris now. Howe's going to run down to the bottom. Not enough to really run the slider on Barris here. Ooh, a little bit squirrely. That's scary at 115 miles an hour. How embarrassing. A little frightening here as they get at it. Barris is going to cut underneath Howe now. Barris has got nothing on him. He's going to run the slider in 1 and 2. No room to slide all the way up. Howe cuts under him. Holy cow. Hold on to your pants there. Now Howe's going to clear him. But you know what this is doing? This is allowing Brandon Garmin to catch up to him and maybe put him at risk. Colby Araki's just out running a totally different race right now. Don't even worry about him. He's just out there all by himself. This is where the action is. Now Howe is clear, and he's going to start pulling away from Bryce Barris. Brandon Garmin down there getting that bottom side bogey going. He's going to run the bottom side in 1 and 2, go back to the top in 3 and 4, but he's really not gaining any ground on Bryce Barris. Back further in the track. Reimer running the top. Obermeyer down on the bottom. Both of these guys running pretty similar lap times. Reimer's going to clear him in 1 and 2. In 3 and 4, they look pretty even. Pretty even for Watson and Bandy back there as well. All these guys having a little bit of trouble holding on. Obermeyer's going to get in the fence a little bit. That's going to allow Hagen to catch up to him. He's got nothing to move on him. 4 laps to go here as they cross the line. Hagen running that top line. Watson in the 6 car. Watson, a guy who's seen a ton of improvement from this season. This is a very very difficult racetrack. Legend Jack, he would always just say, right, high, not afraid to die. That is definitely the words to live by here. Coming around 2 to go. Now Barris, Garmin all up there kind of running their own. It'll be a rocket. Rocket kind of running by himself. It'll be a rocket going to come around and win. Libby Mink, followed by Joe Howe and Bryce Barris. Rennie Garmin. Reese Reimer, Richard Overmeyer, woo! Watson, then Hagen, and Jesse Mandy in ninth. All those cars going to transfer tonight. That's all for lineup. We'll do a little bit of prep work here, and then we're going to get to our dash. Have the dash lineup for you here in just a second. They did that draw during the C main to keep time under control a little bit. They did that dash draw there, like I said, during the Consolation. We're trying to kind of keep the show moving a little bit here tonight. Maybe a little bit of weather coming in down the road. We want to make sure we get that. Dash lineup for tonight going to be Josh Whiteman and Taylor Wineland on the front row. Joseph Grandy and Trevor Royer in row number 2. Zach Miller and Ryan Scheidt in row number 3. This is going to line up the first 3 rows for your feature event. Going to be 6 laps. 6 laps the distance. Guys get lined up there on the backstretch. Going to pace them here for a lap. This is a manually set. From this point forward, everything that happens during the night is manually set by race control. A lot of effort goes into making sure these lineups are correct. We don't just let scoring fill in these cases where we're kind of setting the top 3 rows differently. These guys will get the top 3 rows, and then all those positions will fill in as they actually finished and as they actually won. Josh Whiteman leading to the green here. Flag is out. Whiteman won. Whiteman makes it all the way to the top. Wineland gets a huge runoff in 1 and 2. He's going to try to run that short slider. Whiteman's going to do that same thing. That's going to cut some of Wineland's momentum. Wineland cuts down. He's going to now throw that deep slider in 1 and 2. Trevor Royer now taking a look. Royer, your points leader. Royer running the top of the speedway. It's going to be Whiteman still for the lead. Lap number 2. Royer goes down to the bottom of the speedway. A little bit of a slider, but he gets a lot of grip on the exit of 1 and 2. Now Wineland's under attack, but no room for Royer to slide up the track. He's found some grip in the middle, though. 3 laps to go. Can Royer make a race of this? Whiteman now a little bit into the wall, but he's going to start to pull away from Royer and Wineland. There is no room to close the slider. Now Trevor's going to try that bottom side boogie down there. Trevor's just got nowhere to go right now, and there aren't enough laps to make anything happen. Wineland now at the top of the speedway. Whiteman again running that short slider. Wineland's going to cut down, but Wineland doesn't have a lot of space because Royer's right there. Wineland and Royer are wheel to wheel. Royer lets up a little bit to let Wineland back. Whiteman's going to run now the middle of the speedway with Wineland running. Ooh, in a wreck at the finish line. We're going to have to see what race control calls on that for the finish. Waiting to kind of hear. Looks like Royer's going to be in 3rd, Wineland in 2nd. Whiteman winning that race. Whiteman, then Taylor Wineland, then Trevor Royer. Still waiting for the last part of the field here. All right, well, we wait on the official word for that. We're going to run a little bit of ad roll here, let you guys see about the people who support us. We'll be right back. I'll get you the finish as soon as we come back. A little bit of news here. Royer's car absolutely destroyed at the finish of that event. And let me tell you, every single team on the grid is down there trying to help him put that thing back together. They started to pull the backup car down. Some teams brought some parts around. I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do. We're going to keep an eye on that and see what happens. But Royer absolutely thrashing with the Black Diamond guys down there. And at this point, every single team pitching in. I mean, you can hear them all talking about it. Guys are bringing parts. Guys are even talking about giving them a spare car. I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of things that could happen here. And they're still absolutely thrashing down in there on that number 90 machine for Trevor Royer. The horn has not sounded yet, so they've still got some time. Drivers are starting to get in their cars, but the teams have like literally sent just the guy on the four-wheeler with their drivers and left the rest of their teams down there handing parts to the Royer team, just giving it all they got. And that says a lot. That is what National Auto Racing Club is all about. It is the go-to league in iRacing for dirt and asphalt oval. With thousands of league races under their belt, NARC has become the standard across dirt in the simulator. Run by former and current drivers, crew members, and officials, NARC focuses on mutual respect, clean racing, and having a good time on track. Drivers enjoy clean and intense racing where they're able to drive hard and grow on track without the worry of pervasive voice chats or messages. NARC drivers recognize that mistakes are going to be made and own up when they make those mistakes, but most importantly, realize that racing doesn't always go the way you want. Join NARC today at www.narcleague.net and start writing your pages in the record book. Looks like the lineup might be official here. They're wrapping up the finishing touches. Like I say, every single piece of this lineup from this point forward is hand done. It takes a little bit of time. We appreciate your patience. A little bit about the No Limit League. SimRep Market has helped us in this No Limit Invitational. These guys tonight are racing for founder spots in No Limit. Those spots are going to give them guaranteed access to the No Limit Leagues moving forward. And starting in 2025, drivers just like you can join the No Limit Leagues and run with the stars of NARC No Limit. NARC's No Limit will start sometime in February of next season. We expect registration to be out close to the beginning of the year, maybe a little earlier than that. Christmas is coming up quick on us, and this is a very busy time of the year. We are doing our best. A little bit of late breaking news here. It sounds like it sounds like the Black Diamond guys might be having some engine problems with Ernie Williams as well. So they are out there. They've got the hood. They are ready to push the cars. They've got the hood off of the 91 car. It looks like they pulled out a magneto. They're changing magnetos or ignition boxes or something on there. I can't really tell. Man, this is where a pit reporter would be super helpful. It is so hard to tell from all the way up here what the heck is going on. But they're gonna give Ernie just a couple of minutes here to see if he can't get that worked out. And news, it sounds like the number 20 of Jeremy Weigel going to be a scratch for tonight's event. They had some rear end problems, and they have no spare rear end, and they sent all their team to help Trevor Royer. So they sounds like they're going to miss the field altogether. What a crazy move to the feature here. A little bit about School of Sim Racing. Since 2020, School of Sim Racing has been iRacing's go-to place to learn and grow your skills in an open-minded and laid-back environment. Through paid services like the Insider Program, giving drivers setups and tip videos for official races each week, and masterclass-style training offerings, which will prepare drivers for their iRacing Pro license, or even the community-centered learning opportunities that happen in our Discord community. Every single day, drivers have found SSR to be one of the most valuable resources on the service. Start your journey today at www.schoolofsimracing.net and become an insider, or join the SSR Discord to become the best on track that you can be. SSR has been always about helping out the community, and we're super excited for changes we're making internal to SSR that are going to bring a lot more community focus back in 2025. We are excited to run hosted races and practices and sessions to help you learn how to set up cars and drive the cars on track and become better racers, something that in 2024 we just kind of casually got away from. We're ready to bring those back in 2025. Hearing back down there from the 91 car, they might have they're going to give it a shot, it sounds like, and try to push it off. And they don't know whether it's going to fire, but it sounds like they put a new magneto in it, and they're going to give it another shot here. The horn getting ready to sound. These drivers getting ready to fire off for the SimRap Market No Limit Invitational Finale here at the Big E, the house that Earl built. Half mile, 30 laps tonight. Going to be the distance. Trevor Royer sitting pretty decent in the points. But that drivers are lining up. Royer and Vinny Sansone, your top two in the Division 1 points. Vinny not here tonight. Joseph Grandy, a chance to overtake Vinny. Probably will at this point. Colby Rocky got a chance to get back up a little bit higher. Looks like we got the 91 car on the grid. We got the 90 car on the grid. They got that car repaired. Holy cow, they're going to get both of those cars out on the track, it looks like. Let's see if we can get that 91 car pushed off. They still don't know if it's going to fire. So we'll see how it goes. And they're pushing the 91 car, and a little bit of spark. Looks like he's going. Cool. Ernie is going to get fired. All right. Here we go for the SimRat Market No Limit Invitational Feature event. Starting in the 21st spot from Rochester, Minnesota. Driving the number 27 for Scott Thomason Racing, it's going to be Jesse Bandy. And in 20th position, driving the number 95 from Northwood, Iowa, it's Brent Hagan in the Hagan Brothers Racing Machine. In the 19th, driving the number 6 from Bella Vista, Arizona, it is Mike Doc Watson. In 18th, in the number 97 from Bradford, Pennsylvania, it is Richard Overmeyer. And in 17th, from Iowa City, Iowa, in the 28, it's Reese Reimers. In 16th position, driving the number 18 from Jacksonville, Illinois, it's Brandon Garman. And in 15th, from Atwood, Indiana, looks like we had some scoring challenges there. Green flag's out, Josh White. Take the early lead. So for the lineup bobble there. Big gaggle of cars here for the lead. Warrior at the top. Wineland at the top. Alex Rosinski going down at the bottom. I'm sorry, Ryan Sharp going down at the bottom. Whiteman pushing hard out front. He knows those cars behind him are going to be pushing for him. They're going to be going for him. They've been here all season driving their tails off. They've been fast every time out there. Whiteman talking before the race, not super confident about his chances tonight, but he's put on a show all night. He's nothing to shake a fist at. Taylor Wineland, he's pulling up on Whiteman. Not really gaining on it. Randy and Ernie Williams putting on a little bit of battle. Miller a little bit into the wall. Rick Main going to take the advantage on that. Now, Ernie Williams falling into the clutches of Joseph Grandy here. White, Wineland, Royer in the lead. Royer trying things out. He's trying to make some moves. He was testing stuff out a ton in the dash. Every one of these guys right against the fence. That is absolutely the fastest place to be right now. There is no question about it. And Scheidt now has moved up to the top. Royer being patient as can be. And we caught with that one sputtering a little bit. Royer maybe having engine problems? I don't know. When they came by, we heard a little bit of sputtering coming by. And they didn't get all the plug wires on it. They were thrashing on that thing. Wineland into the wall. Royer's going to collect right back to his tail tank. Wineland protects with a little slide of himself. Royer slides with it. Royer gains a lot of momentum on exit 3 and 4. He's going to stay right there with Wineland. Royer going to try down on the bottom. He's going to try to make something work out there. Got a pretty decent run now. He's got a chance to maybe slide Wineland. He slides up to the middle of the track. Wineland's going to have the advantage. Josh Whiteman out there going, hey boys, I'm up here running by myself. You keep racing, stay out of my... That's working out really good for him. Wineland gains the advantage. Now Trevor Royer's under attack from Jack Young, or Ryan Scheidt, sorry. Scheidt going to run to the inside of Royer. Royer now definitely at risk. Scheidt being super cautious around his teammate, knowing that Royer's running for a championship, but here's Ernie Williams. Ernie Williams now all the way up to 4th position as he is going to make a move on Ryan Scheidt. This is Ernie Williams Speedway. I'm telling you, I've seen Ernie race this track better than anyone else. He's fast here every time he comes. There's no question. He knows this place like the back of his hand. He lives right down the road from it. He's probably been here a million times. I know the feeling. Here we go. Josh Whiteman now starting to catch up with lap traffic. Watson on the bottom. Slower cars, get around him cleanly. Wineland can't figure out how to get around Whiteman. Now Royer's catching back up to the back. Ernie Williams Jr. Getting a run for his money. Lap traffic continues to be a factor. The 90 and 91. Now that yellow car hitting the wall a little bit. A little wall contact. Can't be afraid up there. Those two guys are not. More lap traffic with Richard Overmeyer. This could be it. Not a lot of room there for Whiteman. Royer's going to go all the way down to the bottom. He's going to get a huge run. Royer's going to maybe go 2 for 1. He's going to throw the deep slider in 1 and 2. Trevor Royer, your new leader. Whiteman down on the bottom of the track. He's going to get him back, but Royer clearly in second position now. What a way to work lap traffic by Trevor Royer. Man, Taylor Weiland's back there saying, what just happened? He doesn't even know. Oh, Whiteman's in the wall. Royer's going to get the lead now cleanly in front of Whiteman. Whiteman's going to drop back to third, maybe? Nope, Wineland is not going to be able to get around him. Royer out to a clean lead up front now. Wineland needs to get it wound up. He is under attack from Ernie Williams Jr. Wineland protects in 1 and 3 and 4. Royer is hooked up on a rail. He's moving out fastest car on the track now by at least a tenth of a second. What a move by Trevor Royer. Now these guys starting to settle down just a little bit. 9 laps to go. Trevor Royer out front. Josh Whiteman, Taylor Wineland, Ernie Williams Jr. Ernie still running the top of the track. Wineland continuing to run that sliding line. Looked like he was being protected there, but he's not actually being protected. I think that's just the line he wants right now. And look at this, man. Trevor Royer, he's just flicking the lap traffic off like there's no tomorrow. Don't pull Whiteman out. Nobody's catching Whiteman. Royer's just out for a Sunday drive at this point. And here comes Josh Whiteman. He's changing lanes. He's trying some things out. He's going to build some stuff. Lap traffic definitely playing a factor here. 6 laps to go as we cross the start-finish line. Whiteman running in slider. You can tell he's got a lot of wing in the car. He's giving it a shot. Wineland's on the attack now against Whiteman. Wineland gets around Whiteman now for second. Wineland is going to clear him. Oh, but makes wall contact. Williams in the wall too. Williams cuts down underneath him, but Wineland is going to lose both second and third spot to Williams and Whiteland. He's going to come back to the attack on Williams. But not going to be enough. Williams going to sit solidly in third position. Josh Whiteman in second. Trevor Royer out on the Sunday stroll in first place. Just 3 laps to go as they cross the finish line this time. Does Ernie Williams have enough time? He is the fastest car on the track by 0.3 of a second. He makes a move on Whiteman. Whiteman's going to cut back. Now they're in lap traffic. A little bit of wall contact. That's going to allow Wineland to close back in. Williams now kind of running the middle of the track. Wineland right back on his tail tank. There is no breath here for second, third, and fourth place. These guys are all over the place. Whiteman on the top of the track. Ernie's still the fastest car on the track. He's back at it. Slide job down in 1 and 2. He's not got the room. Last lap here for Trevor Royer. Can Ernie make a move on second? Trevor Royer comes around to win the Simrad Market No Limit Invitation, followed by Josh Whiteman, Ernie Williams Jr., Taylor Weiland, Ryan Scheidt, Colby Araki, Alex Uzinski, Zach Miller, Joseph Rainey, Rick Main rounding out your top 10. That's going to give Trevor Royer the championship and the win tonight in the Simrad Market No Limit Showdown. Let's see if we can get down to talk to them. What a race. Green to checker for these guys. Holy cow. That was a blast. A ton of fun to watch. Trevor Royer absolutely putting on a show. What a run through lap traffic. Waiting on these guys. We'll see if we can get them here. All right, now we got them. Let's see. We got a mic down there. We'll talk to Ernie Williams Jr. here first. Actually, we'll talk to Trevor, the winner, first. Trevor Royer. What a show, man. You put on a heck of a show in lap traffic after absolutely thrashing on that car to get it back on the track. That thing was hooked up.
Yeah. Oh man. Awesome race there for the lead there with Josh and Taylor. Yeah, I was kind of after after the dash, I kind of went for broke there. I really didn't want to start on the bottom, so I stuck my nose there coming to the line, and luckily it was pretty forgiving, and I can forget about that. But it was kind of follow the leader there early on. Didn't really feel like my car was all that great. I felt like those two up front in front of me were putting up a pretty good pace. That I don't know if I would have been able to do anything even if I caught them. And then once we got into lap traffic, I was like, I kind of knew Ernie was breathing down my neck. Ryan was there, and I was kind of like, now's my moment to do something. And I hit the bottoms better than I had the whole night, and just pulled the trigger and went for it, and it ended up working out.
Well, you made the move at exactly the right time, too, because that was exactly when that lap car was there to pick. And if we look back to the dash, you were searching all over to try to figure out how to get around Wineland in the dash. And you got to think that some of that played to your advantage here later when you had just a little more experience in different spots of the racetrack, including the bottom, which you used to then get up into the lead. Is a track like Eldora, where it gets right around the top, is line seeking out still something that's valuable? I mean, are you really looking for, like, how can I work that bottom? How can I work those different lines? Or is it really just all about, like, slide or die here?
You'd think. I know. I mean, I've seen some of the top guys get at least the bottom in 3 and 4 work. 1 and 2, it's a lot harder to get the bottom to work just because the top has so much banking. But in 3 and 4, I've seen plenty of cases where you can get the bottom rolling pretty good. And then I also found the cut down line because the exit of 2 is getting real slick, so I started cutting down. I call it the Schuhart line. People probably hate that I say that, but
I call it the Braden Eiler line.
Eiler does it too.
Eiler was just the master of that cut down line.
But yeah, that was kind of what sealed it for me there, being able to run that cut down, and got a couple tenths away, and was just able to run some clean laps there till the finish.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I know your teammates with Ernie, and I don't know if anybody's whispered it to you yet, but Ernie was a coming. You were absolutely good to get out there and make some space because he was hooked up at the end.
Yeah, this is one of his favorite tracks, so I know whenever he's up there racing for the lead, I gotta go back and watch to see what happened because I kind of expected him to be there. I seen 5 to go and I knew at that point if I just ran good laps, I had it locked up. No yellows. We went green to checker. That was an awesome race. Ecstatic with the outcome.
Yeah, he was really just struggling to get around that lap traffic, the traffic in front of him. I mean, he had so many more cars to pass than you did, and I think in the end that made a difference. Believe it or not, starting position makes a huge difference in a sprint race. Who would have thought? Anybody you want to thank here, Trevor? Any shout outs before we let you go?
Yeah, my team, Black Diamond Motorsports, Ultimate Dirt TV, Drew Neal 19 Designs, Tim's Dirt Track Simulators, you, Bruce, for putting on the broadcast, everybody that involved in this No Limit League this season, Ted. I know Ted's put a ton of time into making sure everything's perfect in a world where it's impossible to be. So I appreciate all the time I'm sure you've put a ton of time into doing race rundowns and um, just everything you've done with this league, and awesome. I feel blessed and fortunate to be a part of this first little trial run here, and I cannot wait for what's in store in the future. Hopefully, some 410s.
Oh, you're trying to break our secret, aren't you? Yeah, so, 410s, maybe 410s coming in February. Who knows? We'll see. We did survey the drivers. That's why Trevor knows that's in play. We kind of asked what they thought, and well, I won't say it was unanimous, but it was darn close. So
It was. Hopefully, no mirrors too. I know that's harder to get
yeah,
than
yours
the
is tough.
no
It's
than 410.
iRacing's got a lot of things for him, but being able to hear other cars, not one of those things. So
I agree with you. I agree
Trevor,
with you.
I think this locks up the points championship for you, which oddly because of some people dropping out wasn't as tight of a race as it looked like it was going to be. But congratulations on that. Congratulations on your win tonight. We appreciate you being a part. You were absolutely one of the first people on our list when we knew we were going to invite people out to run with us, and we appreciate you taking us up. We appreciate you not abandoning us when some some other leagues showed up that had some enticing offers, and we appreciate you sticking it out. And we look forward to seeing what you can do with us back at the beginning of the year.
Yes, sir. I appreciate like I said, I appreciate everything you do, and yeah, bummer some people dropped out, but I mean, honestly, that's how it goes in every league. But
It happens.
sure.
They
The
were
real ones hang around,
They
and
were intimidated. We know how it works. All right, Trevor Royer, your No Limit Invitational winner here at Eldora. Let's see if we got a little bit of Josh Whiteman. Josh,
Hey,
you did not think you were going to have that run at the beginning of the night. I heard you down there in the infield chittering and chattering around about how you thought this was going to be your not for long moment out front. You held your own against some of the best guys at Eldora there are. I mean, Ernie Williams,
Yep.
Trevor Royer, two people I would never bet against them at Eldora, and you put on a show. Trevor even said in his interview he didn't think he was going to be able to pass you.
yeah, well, when I mentioned that in the infield before the race started, those two were the exact two people I was thinking of. I've gone toe to toe with those two here countless times. I've only beat one of them once. I got Ernie one time, but ever since then it's been all Trevor and Ernie here. So when it come to Eldora, those guys are the guys to beat. And my team and I, we're getting our footing back. We've struggled the past couple seasons, past couple builds, but we're starting to get it back together, finding some speed, and this was the most fun I've had in quite a while on here. I'll definitely take second.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time tonight. Eldora, one of those historic tracks in real life as it is here in the sim. And when you think about Ernie and Trevor here, I mean, in the real world, you think about names like Tyler Courtney and Jack Hewitt. And I mean, those are the guys that knew those tracks like the back of their hands. And Trevor and Ernie are those guys here. They've been around since the beginning of dirt, and some of those guys in real life had been around since the beginning of Eldora. So absolutely a great run for you. Appreciate you coming out and running with us
thank you.
for the whole season. Anybody you want to thank on your way out the door here today?
I want to thank you guys here at NARC for putting this on. This was a cool deal. I had to miss a couple of races because I had, if you're thinking of sim racing, I had motor problems for a couple of weeks, but we got those fixed and we were able to come back tonight. So glad I could be here for this one. But thanks to you guys for sure. And then I want to thank the guys over at Scott Thomason Racing STR, especially Scott. He has more faith in me than I do myself. So, he's the reason why I'm still racing, man. And I enjoy racing for him. I won't race for anybody else. I got to thank Chad Griggs from Aces Up Sim Sports for all he does for our team as a teammate and as just a person in general. He's a good guy too. And then, just all my customers who've got paints for me from Finish Line Race Designs to help me forward the iRacing habit. So, and I think that's about it.
Well, Josh, we appreciate you coming out. great run tonight. You were able to beat Ernie, but you weren't quite able to pull off Trevor. So maybe next season when you come back, I'm sure Eldora will be on the schedule. It is one of our favorite tracks to run. You're going to get another shot at it. So Josh
Yeah.
Whiteman, your second place finisher here in the Simrat Market No Limit Invitational feature. Ernie Williams Jr., man, never count Ernie Williams Jr. out. Yeah, motor problems on pit road. You guys are changing magnetos,
Man.
popping in and out. Didn't think it was going to push off when the push truck started pushing, and here you are. You work your way all the way back to third place. And I think had it had 10 more laps, you would have beat Trevor.
Man, it was. I had trouble getting around. Once I got to fourth, the line kind of was pretty much the same, and I was trying to get around Whiteman and Weiland, and Weiland eventually let me around, but I couldn't get around Whiteman. He was just good enough to where I couldn't get a good enough run, man. And I was just trying so hard. I wanted to get to Trevor. He's a teammate, so you don't want to let him win, So I'm
Right.
trying super, super hard to get to him, and I just think I was just trying too hard. I should have just settled in for like a 3 or 4 lap run and got a good run and tried to pass him that way. But man,
Weiland in 3 and 4 was running this like short slider line that early in the race it just looked like he was protected. It looked like he was just protecting against other cars. But as the race went on, you started to figure out I don't think the car was working on entry in 3 up top, right? I don't think he could enter up high like you and Trevor. Well, the problem you run into with that is that 3 and 4 is the slider. It's the place to pass on the slider line, right? So if you're going to run that short slider line, even on purpose, it almost acts as a protection move and becomes really hard to pass because it's a long way around.
It makes it super hard to pass, and that's what makes the racing so fun. I mean, you gotta figure out a way around him. You can't just go in there clobber him or anything, or move him out of the way. At least I don't want to. I want to race him clean. They're clean racers. Everybody here is. So you're trying your best to pass them clean, and you're just back there thinking, man. Like I was talking to Trevor earlier. I was like, once I got to 5th, I was like, well, this is probably where I'm going to end up. And then Ryan got messed up a little bit. I got around him, and like I said, I pretty much think Weiland just let me around him there. After I showed myself 2 or 3 times, I think he just got out of the way and just ran in through the middle and let me go around. And that's pretty much how I got to third. Or I think if he'd have ran that little slider line that you was talking about, it would have played real hard to get around him.
Yeah, and sometimes it's a moment of self-preservation to let somebody by. I mean, you may be able to hold him up, but if you hold him up and you guys make contact and then you both finish last, I mean, that's still a bad run for everybody involved. So.
He's just a respectful driver. That's just the way he is. I've been racing with him a long time. He's just a very good driver, man. If he's not going to be the one to just sit up there and block you for 5, 6, 7 laps. He's going to race you hard. And if he feels like you're faster, 9 times out of 10, he's going to do what most people's going to do. I would do, a bunch of other people do. You're just going to move down a little bit and let a guy get around you, move up back in line. And that's what he does. And I know he's going to do that. And I would do it for him too, and he knows that. Like I said, he's a very respected driver. I love racing with him. I love racing with him.
Yeah. So green to checker race. Anybody you want to thank on your way out here today?
Black Diamond Motorsports, some guys back in there in the Discord channel and everything, man. We have a great time back in there. Congratulations to Trevor on the win, Whiteman for second, and Tim Sims up in Lima, Ohio. He's a big supporter of the team. And thanks for the broadcast, guys. Bruce, you do a good job doing all the commentary, man. I can't wait. Go back, watch it, and all the good stuff. And we'll hopefully here in a couple of weeks, man, we'll be racing in February, maybe some a little bit more horsepower cars or something. But either way,
I hear that's floating around, and Trevor must have mentioned that when that came up in his interview too.
So either way, we'll be here though, man. And thanks for the fans for coming out and watching.
Coming about a little more horsepower coming next year. So
awesome, man. Hey, you guys take care, man. Can't wait to go back and watch the thing, man.
Thanks, Ernie. Ernie Williams Jr., your third place finisher here tonight. That wraps up the Simrat Market No Limit Invitational, and we have some people to thank on our way out the door here. Just like the drivers who have teams behind them and do everything they can to put these events on, we have the exact same thing. We have a huge team that goes behind this event and making this invitational only test season of No Limit Sprint Cars work. And from a personal point of view, Ted York has been the kind of operations director for No Limit, handling how the races run, the formats, how the points are going to run, all of that stuff. And he's had a team in the booth with him Greg Keppel, Chris Vinson, not listed here. Pat Cobb also has been in the booth with them, administering each of these races. And like I had mentioned earlier in the race, these lineups are hand drawn and hand built, and these guys have done a ton to move iRacing to the next level, to move dirt racing leagues to the next level, to run things differently. And we're super appreciative of the time and effort they've put in. On the production side, Christian McCartney was the pit reporter for a few races. He'll be back in 2025 in some capacity. The pit reporter concept will be back. We have other stuff we had to test, so we did have to kind of move in and out of that. Josh Borowski helped with a lot of our tech production. Devin Maines helped with some of the media production and the social media work early in the season. Ryan Wagenschutz helped with producing all of the stuff that you see right now on screen in social media. All those driver cards, all of that stuff, that was all Ryan Wagenschutz's work. So we're appreciative of that. Simrad Market, we couldn't have done it without you. We did some camera work with them and utilized those camera packs in the broadcast that you saw during this event. So that's all Simrat Markets doing, all those camera packs that you saw during the broadcast. We appreciate their support for our entire event. And we appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in. The viewership for these broadcasts have been incredible. And that is all your guys is doing. And that is what has kept us going at the rate that we've kept going. And I'm excited for what we're going to do in 2025. We're going to pick it up a little bit. We're going to do some new stuff. We're going to really kind of tighten some of the stuff that we've kind of experimented with in this season. But your viewership has been above and beyond what we expected. And we hope that if you're interested in continuing to watch, you're able to do that. But also that if you want to run, that you keep an eye out in our Discord, in our social media channels, NARC and SSR, and that you look out, because coming in a couple of weeks, we're going to start to open up and announce registration for the 2024 NARC No Limit Sprint Car first season. This is going to be the inaugural, or the first season beyond the invitational. It's going to be open to everybody, and we want you guys to participate in that. We'll be limited to only probably 40 or 50 drivers, but anybody's going to be eligible as long as you're in good standing with our community. You're going to be welcome to come in and join us, and that's what we want to see. So on behalf of Ted York and myself, Tommy Brandon at SSR, I appreciate all of you, and until the dust settles, we'll see you guys later.